Hello, this is James Hudnall, and welcome to another episode of Creative Secrets. This one is about subplots. Subplots means it's subservient to the plot. In other words, it's a story within a story that buttresses your own story, but it serves to give a different perspective on events that are related to your overall story, but in themselves are separate. Your subplots use the same kind of structure that a three-act story does. It has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning of your subplot introduces your character or main characters that are the focus of that subplot. Then there's a conflict of some kind that take up the middle part of that. And then the ending is a resolution, which is a resolution of that particular story. But again, the story exists to strengthen your narration, so it actually helps the main story. Even though it might feel like a separate thing, it is part of the whole. One of the things you can do with a subplot that makes them so fun is you can actually explore other characters and explore what they're doing outside of what your main characters are knowledgeable about, thus showing the audience something that's important without using exposition. You can actually reveal events that are important to the story, but you don't have to explain it with a bunch of people talking about it. The thing to remember about a subplot is you are dealing with a main character or characters within that story. They don't have to be your character, and they're telling us things about that particular character. So that character may be integral to the overall plot or not. But if it is, then you can develop that character and use the character arc structure that we discussed, that basically the subplot will allow you to flesh out the character while at the same time using the subplot to buttress the main overall plot. Subplots are often called the A and B plot. A plot being the main story, and then the B plot is the subplot. But you can have multiple subplots in a story. You just don't want too many to confuse people. But you have to think in terms of a through line for each one of these subplots so that they feel like a complete story within themselves. It gives a story more weight when you do that, and it also makes it feel like a deeper story when you do that also. If you just have a subplot that's not really fleshed out, then it seems like a wasted scene. Everything in the story has to reinforce the main story, the main theme. It has to serve the purpose of the larger story. So you don't want subplots running away with the story. You don't want to use subplots to just spend a lot of time with another character and not pay attention to what the main goal of the story is. That's a mistake that some people make, and I don't recommend it. When you're doing a B story, C story, D story, you are creating alternate viewpoints on events happening within the continuity of your story. Now, sometimes people do things out of continuity in a subplot. So they show like backstory. They show like what happened before in a subplot. So they can show, say, your main character of your story. You can show what happened to them when they were a child, or you can show them even in the future if you want, but it all has to relate back to the main story you're trying to tell. Each subplot is, like I said, a story unto itself, but it is part of the whole. And what you want to do is make sure that it ultimately doesn't conflict with or mess with your main story, unless you need it to conflict with it for some reason, like you want the character to believe one thing in the main story, but the backstory shows that they're lying to themselves, that this is what really happened, and then later you revealed what really happened to the main character will come to realization. That's one possible route you could take with a subplot. The main thing is the subplot is a tool for you to explore other avenues within the overall structure of your story and give them a more fleshed out sort of perspective so that it feels like there's more to it than just the main linear story that you're telling. One of the main things a story can do, and one of its main powers, is to reveal truths. Essentially, you're trying to show people things about reality, or the reality that the characters are living in, and you can use subplots to show things that the character doesn't know so that the audience knows what's really going on. Even if the hero doesn't, the hero has to figure it out, and that's part of their journey. But a subplot is a way of revealing things that are unknown to the main character, and that is going to be used later when the character discovers the truth for themselves. The audience will already know that, and they'll get like a double pleasure for seeing the character's reaction to what they already know. It's something that can be very useful. So that's it for now. I will be dealing with the story question next, which is an interesting thing to consider. I would love it if you would check out the links below, and please subscribe if you haven't done so. I will be doing at least 3 of these videos a week, if not more, but I'm going to try to do more interviews every week also. It's just a matter of getting my time scheduled with other people's. It's always a pain, but I intend to keep doing it, so I'll be adding a lot more guests later. That's it for now. I hope you have a great 2019, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.